How is moral fiber of the United States of America doing? That was a question I posed when I submitted my final paper for my BLS 401 class. When you're talking about morality, what you want to know is what is the definition of morality and what people consider morality to be. Moral fiber can simply be defined as a capacity to do what's right, no matter what the circumstance or the situation is or the consequence. One might ask, how does moral fiber in the United States, how's it doing right now? Many might agree with the moral fiber of the United States as being, depending on the time, depending on the circumstance, depending on the situation, we can actually base the moral fiber of how we're doing. You can also ask, can you measure moral fiber? Is it gained by political wealth? Is it gained by status? Is it gained by how much money you have? Can it be gained by one's birth family? All these are good questions in dealing with morality. The biggest thing is, well, I'm not going to say the biggest thing, but also asking yourself, do you base your morality on your religion or what you believe to be true? Can moral fiber be measured by the color of one's skins or their ethnicity? All these are great questions. National character. I just believe character is, what I consider character to be is what someone does when someone's not watching. That's a good way that I always found as a good description of what character is. But what weighs morality is basically from when you're conceived and born into this world, what message is given to you by your family, by your surroundings. Finding out exactly those things and what's important to you gives you an idea and a way of measuring your moral fiber. A lot of people think and believe the higher you get as far as status in the world, your morality should match it also. But we're in the time right now where a lot of things have been lost or screwed or misconveyed. So like, why are politicians deemed to be crooked when these are our elected officials and people we hold to represent our beliefs and the way we want to live our lives? That one person is supposed to embody that belief and that thought. Why is it when someone works as a used car salesman, they're not viewed to have high moral fibers? These are just questions that are always, comes up, and it's kind of funny how someone's occupation really automatically labels how they're viewed and how someone else views them. There are a lot of things in this, depending on what time we want to measure the country's morality, really depends on what views we have. Right now, it's easy to say that things like slavery was wrong, but there's another question you can ask about that. Is slavery, is the law and what's just the same thing? Because although slavery was legal, we know now that it was an immoral thing to do, or a moral thing for people to go through. But so it really depends on what time frame. Also going in from the birth of this country, leading up to how this country was built on the backs of free labor. Also thinking about people of color and also women getting the right to vote. That time frame of going to the civil rights movement, the LGBTQ movement, all these things are dealing with, are portrayed over a period of time, and that really is what's right, what's just, and what you believe to be moral, you know. And we're in a time right now where all these things, sometimes the view is very clouded. There are things that happen every single day that we question, whether it's, I talked about it in my paper, having someone trying to get their children the admission scams in colleges. Those things where you're doing all you can do to provide for your family, but you're blurring the lines when it comes to following all the rules. So where's your morality in that? Also, when it comes to like school shootings, where are we? Where are we as far as what message is getting portrayed to our children, our family, our community people, to make them what message is being given to them to make them want to do that? Where's the disconnect? Where is the what's making them do those things? It's not a moral dilemma that they're going through, but they are confused to make them portray so much vicious actions toward other people. But moral fiber can be measured minute by minute, hour by hour, on a daily basis. Also, I guess now, since we're living in a time of social media, it's very easy to find how someone views something, or how someone can actually skew that message, just to tailor itself to their base, whether it's political, whether it's social. That thing is always being clouded. I think one of the biggest things we have as far as the World Wide Web, you can investigate any event on a day-to-day basis, and you can also apply the moral fiber in those situations. Also, it is very comforting when we recognize, like, our political officials, our government. They work hard. The general idea is that they're put there to work hard to portray a message for justice for all. But what we do is we're trying our best to uphold that value, but for some reason there are certain parts of people in our society that are not feeling that justice is always portrayed for them. I believe for the most part, the United States, American citizens are good. They're moral, they're law-abiding citizens that don't mind helping others when in need. I believe most people in America are proud Americans, but unfortunately, these good and proud citizens, they go to the voting polls and vote in people that are not good, moral, or not obeying all the laws that are put before them. People are voted into public offices who really have no integrity, no empathy for the less fortunate, the poor, the disabled, our sick citizens of the United States. People that also no support for people that are trying to find a better way to live their lives and provide for their family. In other words, many people with good intentions have good moral fiber, elect people to the most popular nation that pass poor legislation, to make sure that everyone has that idea of the so-called, quote, American dream. For the past 2 years, an excellent but very sad and frightening example of the United States of America displaying poor moral fiber is the separation of immigrants or people who are seeking asylum. When you separate them from their children, I think at no point in time that you're able to separate the two. I understand what the laws of the land think. I understand that we should always try to enforce the way people enter our country. But for people that are seeking asylum or people that are coming here illegally are two separate instances that need to be addressed separately. But separate at any time you're separating, a child from someone seeking refuge from for their life. I think that should always be considered different than just illegal aliens. But just going back in time, you think about, some of the biggest political issues, and it's always controversy when you're mixing politics and also religion. When it comes to, being a Christian, you believe in a higher power, but the message, how someone can take the Bible and say or believe a certain way. It's funny how you have so many people that are consider themselves Christians, but have so many different ways of portraying that. You know, the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, is a Christian organization, but they believe a certain thing. Also, you have radicals on when it comes to Christianity, or when you come to any type of religion, where the Muslim faith, where the Muslim faith is supposed to be about peace, but we're always thinking that someone, depending on their description, are trying to do harm or considering us the infidel, which means, someone who is not of the Muslim faith. But where's the morality that matches up when it comes to talking about religion and the correlation between religion and just what is morality? I honestly and truly believe, studying certain religions, I think the constant basis of it is about love and understanding, and really trying to make our world better for us and our neighbor. But also it's clouded. That message has always been clouded when it comes to what religious figure you pray to. So I guess the question is, where is the spirit of the United States of America? I think right now, as a country, I've never felt that we are so divided as a country. And I think that's primarily based on our political figures and what messages they are trying to give this country. It seems like now President Trump, that's a person we can measure morality about his past, but he is the president of the United States. But right now, the message that he's given, it seems like a one-sided message. And I think that needs to change, especially for us to unify and really, come to the most common interest, not just for the right, the left, the conservative, or the liberal, but for every person. You're trying to make their lives better. And I honestly and truly believe, if you really sit a conservative, a liberal, a Republican, a Democrat, a independent, if you sit those people down in a room and you start talking fundamentally about what they deem to be important, I honestly and truly, you can say what they want to do is have the ability to earn a decent wage, have the ability to raise their family in a safe environment and watch them grow. Also have the ability to educate them and give them every advantage they can to become responsible citizens, and also to pass those three things on to the next generation. I honestly and truly believe everyone that you put in that room will fundamentally say the same things. When it comes to certain issues or what people deem to be what's wrong with the country right now, that's where the cloudiness becomes of what's really happening. You know, what we need to do is really work on coming together rather than separating each other. You know, I believe that there's a set of individual and groups in the United States and across the world who are without moral fiber. I also believe most citizens of the United States of America have a sense of fair play. Well, we work or they work to stay out of trouble, to do the right things, to break no laws, to not hurt anyone else. And we're willing to do whatever's right every time if we have the opportunity to. And that's the key to morality, to do what is right and what you know to be right, regardless of what the circumstance, situation, or consequence. So doing this paper, I felt I got a little better view of where we're lacking, and also I think it all starts how to fix our moral fiber is make sure the message we're giving, the message in your home, is the same message that lines up biblically, faith-based, and also just living in the realm of righteousness, and also wanting to see someone that your neighbor want them to see. You want to see them do well also. So that's where it starts in the home, and we have to make sure that the message we give in the home that we're giving to the world. And thank you for the time and support.